I am going to reach 100% perfection in Stardew Valley. Hello everyone, my name is Adi and welcome back to my Stardew Valley Perfection Run series. And welcome to year 2. If you haven't seen any of my previous videos about this run, I have a short recap of year 1 that I'll link down below, so please go watch that first. If you'd like a more in-depth breakdown of my first year, I will also link that entire playlist down below. Make sure to go follow me on Twitch also to watch this playthrough live, and without further ado, let's go right into day 1. The second I stepped out of my door on day 1, I was ambushed. Kent is now back from the war, which is cool, I guess. My biggest goal for the first week was to finally finish the community center. I was missing the rabbit's foot and the 5 gold parsnips, and I was determined to get everything wrapped up in week 1. I took care of my animals, cleared up some space, and got my field ready for crops. On my way to Pierre's, I got a cutscene of Emily taking care of an injured parrot. I don't know. I bought all of the seeds that I wanted from Pierre, and then I went home and planted them. I spent some time clearing out some more space on my farm, and then I went out foraging. While I was in the forest, I unlocked the sewer gate and met Krobus. I bought a star drop from him, said hi to Shane on his way home from the bar, and then I went to bed. It was raining on day 2, so I spent the early morning taking care of my farm, and then I went to Pierre's and bought some fruit tree saplings. I planted my tree saplings, and then I headed off to Skull Cavern. I stopped and bought some bombs from the dwarf on my way, and then I went in. My main goal this time was to collect ore, mostly iridium. I would say that I was pretty successful in my mission, and I continued mining until I ran out of food. I went back to the valley, accepted the wizard's request for some prismatic slime, and then I went home. I made a special little area for my kegs, and I went to bed once it got late. I started my day 3 as usual by taking care of my farm. I gave a gift to the wizard, found some bread in a trash can, and collected the strange doll. I checked on my progress on the Monster Hunter quest for the Adventurers Guild, and I realized that I had made no progress on it. I gifted Robin a diamond, and I got a cutscene as soon as I walked into her house. I sided with Robin, obviously, and the bed that she made was really pretty. I also got a cutscene with Sebastian when I walked into his room, and I learned that he's really passionate about his job, which is cool. I gave a gift to Linus, worked on making some recipes, and finished the night fishing with my best friend Willie. Overnight, my cow gave birth, which was really unexpected. Welcome to the world, Chotso. I took care of my farm, went to the beach, and got a cutscene with Elliot after I walked into his cottage to give him a gift. He asked me what kind of books I like, and I told him romance novels. I gave him a duck feather and bought a couple of crab pots from Willie, and then I went to the mines to try and get the prismatic jelly for the wizard. I actually managed to find the prismatic jelly, really fast, and then I went to the wizard's tower to present him with my findings. I went foraging around the forest, made a couple more recipes, and then I went to bed. My parsnips were ready on day 5, and I got plenty of gold parsnips to finish off the community center. However, I still didn't have a rabbit's foot. And at this point, I was panicking a bit. I really needed to finish the community center so I could work on getting to Ginger Island and work on getting closer to perfection. I took the gold parsnips to the community center and finally completed the quality crops bundle. I was trying to figure out what the fastest method to get a rabbit's foot would be, and I decided that I should just try my luck with the traveling cart. And I got lucky. I bought the rabbit's foot, ran to the community center, and completed it. I took a bus to the desert, bought a pretty penny's worth of starfruit seeds, and then went home. I made a few more kegs and worked on some decorating. It was raining again on day 6, but I didn't mind much. I took care of my animals, and then I set up my greenhouse with the goal of making as much money as possible. I planted all of my starfruit seeds, made more kegs, and then I went up to the mountains. Abby invited me to stand under her invisible tree in the rain with her, and I bet we were both really cold. I spent the rest of the day fishing with the goal of catching the spring legendary fish, but alas, I did not catch it. On day 7, I learned how to make pizza. Anyway, I got a whole bunch of other recipes in the mail from completing the community center. I accidentally skipped the cutscene though, which is the rudest thing I've ever done. I love that cutscene. I went down to the beach and Willie showed me his crabs, and then he made Gus and I catch them all. He also showed me his boat. I went home, picked my crops that were ready, and then worked on collecting the hardwood that I needed for Willie's boat repair. I went to the mines for a while, and then I caught Marnie and Lewis doing their Romeo and Juliet play rehearsal on my way home. Lewis, I don't like you, and literally no one will care if you and Marnie are dating, just saying. I spent the rest of the night fishing, and when it got really late, I went home and I went to sleep. On day 8, Jody invited me to dinner the moment I stepped outside. I know that you don't have to do this dinner on this exact day, but the politeness in me really wanted to go to the dinner. I went about my business and took care of everything, and then I grabbed the 5 iridium bars that I needed to repair Willie's boat. I then stopped by the secret woods to collect more hardwood, and then I dropped off the iridium at Willie's boat. After that, I went fishing in the mountain lake to catch a largemouth bass before dinner, but I was unsuccessful and disappointed. I decided to just head home and go to sleep. It was a great luck day on day 9. I took care of my crops and my animals, and then I went fishing to get a largemouth bass, and I caught one immediately. I went fishing in the river for a little bit outside of Jody's house while I waited for dinner time. I got distracted pretty quick though, and I went into the sewer and I got a cutscene between Krobus, the dwarf, and the wizard, so that was fun. I collected some shells at the beach and decided to just spend a little bit of time fishing. At around 6 p.m., I went to stand outside of Jody's house like a stalker, and then finally it was 7 p.m., so I went inside for dinner. I decided to go fishing for just a little bit longer in the river before I went home, and I went to bed. Evelyn came by this morning and gave me some crop pots for my house, which was nice of her. I took care of my farm, and then I went out to the desert as soon as Pam arrived at the bus. I bought 40 starfruit seeds from Sandy, and then I went home and I worked on clearing out more space on my farm. I laid out wood flooring and organized my kegs, and then I cut down a bunch of trees, planted my starfruit seeds, and I noticed I was low on energy, so I ended up just going to bed. In the morning on day 11, I spent some more time working on my greenhouse, specifically planting some more starfruit seeds. I made another keg, and then I decided I would do a small skull cavern run. During this run, I was mainly focused on collecting ore and coal, but I will say I'm getting more used to the difficult monsters in Skull Cavern. I stayed in Skull Cavern until about 10 p.m., and when I got home, I had a cutscene with Linus, and he showed me his special meat. Anyway, I collected my wine that was ready, and I did a little bit more organizing, but then it was late, so I went to bed. It was a bad luck day on day 12, but tomorrow is the Egg Festival, so that's exciting. I took care of my farm, checked the traveling cart, cut down the hardwood trees in the secret woods, and then gave a gift to the wizard. I worked a bit more on decorating my farm, I cut down some more trees, and then it was late, so I went to bed. I started day 13 by harvesting my crops that were ready and then taking care of everything else. I went to the Egg Festival as soon as I could, and I made sure to talk to everyone there. I am very sad to announce, though, that I did not win the egg hunt this year. I know that I have let all of you down. I think actually this is the second year in a row too, so that's embarrassing. I went home, head hanging low in shame, and made another keg. I picked up some truffles, put them in a box, and then I went to bed. On day 14, I learned how to make hash browns. I immediately made them, and then I did my usual morning chores. When I was done with that, I went down to the beach to go fishing. I stopped by to chat to my future husband, Elliot, but I fished for a little bit longer before going to Marnie's and buying an auto grabber. I placed the auto grabber in my barn, and then I went to the secret woods to collect more hardwood. I gave a gift to the wizard, also gave a gift to Leah, and then I went foraging. I made some wild spring seeds to sell, and then I placed them in the box before heading off to bed. I was feeling sassy on day 15, although that could be attributed to the glass of rosé I was having. Evelyn wrote me a letter to ask me to bring her a leek for George, so obviously I would do that. I took care of my farm, gifted a leek to George myself, and brought Evelyn the leek that she asked for. I went to the secret woods, chopped down the mahogany trees, and gave a gift to the wizard. I went to the mines for just a minute to get some iron ore, put some iron in the furnaces, and then I went to sleep. Day 16 was another bad luck day, and even though I didn't want to, I still took care of my farm. And then I had to go back to the secret woods again and collect more hardwood. I went back home, made another lightning rod, and then I went down to the beach. I had a cutscene with Elliot when I got there. He was playing piano and I complimented him because I want him to like me. He complained one time about struggling with money, and I kind of became a crazy, not even girlfriend yet, and I literally invited him to live with me on my farm. Which, if you wouldn't believe, is actually the nice response option. The other one basically tells him to stop complaining. I gave him a gift after that cutscene, and then I went home and cut down some trees. Around 10 p.m., I decided that I had enough wood, and I went to bed. It was a great luck day on day 17, so that was nice. I did my chores, collected some wine that was ready, and then collected the hardwood in the secret woods like usual. A train was passing by, so I went up to collect anything that could have dropped, but the train got interrupted by a cutscene with the wizard. The train was still going during the cutscene, so I missed any chance to collect anything. I went down into the sewer and into that cave on the side. I found the dark talisman, bought a void egg from Krobus, and immediately went home and put the egg in the incubator. Now that the witch's swamp area is unlocked, I went up there and tried to convince the guy to let me buy. I ran back to Krobus, bought another void egg, and added it to the mayo machine. Instead of just waiting for that to be done, I decided that it was late enough that I should just go to bed. The bad luck was back on day 18. I harvested some forageables that were ready and took care of my animals. I went back to the witch's swamp, gave the man the void mayo he so desperately wanted, and I collected the ink to bring back to the wizard. I gave it back to him, and he asked me if my ex-wife said anything about him. Anyway, but I unlocked the Book of Summoning, so that is amazing. I actually decided to build a Junimo hut as soon as I could. I went home, cleaned out my inventory, and actually decided to go to the mines. Spending the majority of my time in the earlier levels, I focused mostly on collecting copper and coal if I could find it. I found this note that told me to go to level 100 in the Skull Cavern again, and yeah, no thanks. I continued my mining until way too late, and I made it into bed at 1:40 a.m. Marnie randomly sent me some hay on day 19, so thanks I guess. I went around collecting everything from my farm, made another keg, and it was my first big harvest of starfruit today. I filled all of my kegs with starfruit and saved the extra for later. I decided to get a Junimo hut, so I ran over to the Wizard's Tower, purchased it, and put it in the worst place possible. But don't worry, I won't move it. I went off to the desert to buy starfruit seeds once again, and then immediately went back home to plant all of them. After planting all of the seeds that I could, I decided to add a good quality sprinkler in the greenhouse anyway, just so I could plant a few more seeds. I took all of my diamonds and went to the saloon to give out as many gifts as I could. However, when I got there, I had a cutscene where I had to tell Pam that she had to pay Gus back for all of the beer she was drinking. And Pam tried to say that she shouldn't have to pay it back, but eventually it got settled, and I went around talking and giving out gifts to everyone there. I decided at the last second to go to the secret woods to cut down mahogany trees, so I did just that before passing out right in front of the box. Linus found me last night, but apparently someone took some of my money. Good thing I only had like 30 gold. I did all of my morning chores, cut down a few trees, and then made another keg, making sure I put a starfruit in it. I decided to open my geodes, and on the way, I cut down the hardwood trees in the woods again. And then I went to Clint's. I got one new thing for the museum, and quite a few things that I could sell. I went up to the mountains, and I had a cutscene with Robin. Apparently, I learned how to make a flute block and a drum block. I also had to do a pickle juice shot, and just trust me when I say never, ever, ever drink pickle juice and rosé at the same time. I gave Maru a diamond and put everything back into the box, and I made another keg. I collected some truffles to sell, and then I went to bed. I learned how to cook a complete breakfast on day 21. I'm glad I can have a healthy, balanced diet in this game. I got the pumpkin soup recipe from Robin, and Pierre asked me to bring him a plate of sashimi. I made this sashimi, took care of my animals, and went to Pierre's to give him the plate. He gave me 1,000 gold for it, so that's cool. I checked the traveling cart, bought 4 batteries for Willie's boat, and collected the hardwood again. I took 5 batteries down to Willie's boat, and the only other thing that I needed was 200 pieces of hardwood, which I was close to. We are going to be unlocking Ginger Island in year 2 spring. That's awesome. I went home, cut down a bunch of trees, and then I went to sleep. On day 22, I started the day exactly as you would expect. I was able to make 2 more kegs, and we're getting a pretty good collection here. I chopped down the trees in the secret forest, and I only had to wait 1 more day for hardwood before I could unlock the boat for Ginger Island. I got out some gifts for different villagers, and I gave a gift to the wizard, Marnie, Haley, Jody, Leah, Abby, Sebastian, Linus, and Krobus. During this time, I also got 2 different cutscenes, one where Haley asked me to open a pickle jar for her, and another where Evelyn taught me how to make her world-famous cookies. By the end of all that, it was really late, so I ended up going straight home and going to sleep. Overnight, a mysterious lightning strike opened the door at the old Joja Mart. Interesting. I also got to pick my final foraging profession, and I picked botanist. I learned the rhubarb pie recipe first thing in the morning, and the wizard sent me a frozen tear. I took care of my animals, had another starfruit harvest, and collected the last hardwood that I needed to finish Willie's boat. I immediately ran down to the beach and added the hardwood to the boat, and it will be repaired overnight. I went to the desert, purchased more starfruit seeds, and then I went back home to plant them. I brought a coconut to Haley to convince her to be nice to me, and then I went to check out the new bundle in the old Joja shop. This one's gonna take a while. I decided that I was done for the day, so I actually went to bed a little bit early. Just like they said, Willie and Robin repaired the entire boat overnight. Impressive. I had another starfruit harvest on the morning of day 24, and it was also the day of the flower dance. I bought the rare crow even though I wasn't sure if I had already purchased it. It was a good thing too because I didn't have it. I made sure to talk with everybody, and to no one's surprise, I asked Elliot to be my dance partner. I was mad because I wasn't wearing the right outfit, and I was also always a beat off. It was dark already when I got home from the flower dance, so I pretty much just went straight to bed. A bad luck day again on day 25. What a shame. My void egg hatched, and the game automatically named the chick after one of my mods. So I made another keg and made sure to add a starfruit to it. And then I was able to add caviar to the missing bundle at Joja Mart. I gave Elliot another gift, and we finally got to 8 hearts. I ran to Pierre's to get a bouquet, and then I asked Elliot to be my boyfriend. He said yes. I went down to the beach and celebrated my new relationship by going to an abandoned island that Willie dropped me off at. Welcome to Ginger Island. Ginger Island is actually one of my favorite parts of Stardew Valley. I have such positive memories of all of the late game stuff from my first playthrough, and I remember having so much fun with Ginger Island. I am so happy to be back. I immediately began looking for golden walnuts, and I remembered a couple of spots actually off the top of my head. I met Leo, and I literally love him so much. He didn't talk to me yet, but that's okay. I collected 9 gold walnuts before I decided it was late enough, and I needed to return home before I passed out. It was a good luck day again on day 26, and this was proven because Elliot invited me to his book reading, and of course I was gonna go. I took care of my farm and I had a ton of bottles of wine ready. I am going to be rich. I grabbed my geodes to break them apart at Clint's, but apparently he thinks Friday is a good day to take off. I stopped by the beach to talk to Elliot, and then I waited outside the library for his book reading to start. I went inside and listened to him read a section of his new romance novel, and wouldn't you know, he made it a romance novel because I said it was my favorite. Aw. I went home and I worked on completing some things that I could, such as making recipes, saving spring ingredients, and then I went to the mines. On the way, I checked my progress on the Monster Hunter quest, and it was absolutely terrible, and I'm a bit embarrassed. So I went into the mines with a mission to kill slimes, and also to collect ore, but mostly to kill slimes. I stayed out way too late again, and it was past midnight when I finally went to bed. Would you believe me if I said I made 63,000 gold from that wine? Well, it's true. I'm rich, bitch. It was a good luck day on day 27. I love when the universe is in my favor. I spent a little bit more time working on my farm decorations after checking up on all of my crops and animals, and then I went to the desert. I bought another 50 starfruit seeds, planted what I could, and then I went to Ginger Island to finish out the day. I spent some time fishing, but I didn't catch anything interesting, other than a lionfish, I guess. That's kind of cool. I went into the volcano and almost died before even reaching level 1, but I still decided to press on. I collected a dragon tooth and several cider shards. Oh, and 1 golden walnut. Yay. I used the 10 golden walnuts that I had to unlock the west part of the island. I was able to snag 2 more golden walnuts before I needed to go home. I went home, organized my stuff, and I went to bed. Day 28 began with me learning the recipe for Lucky Lunch. Robin sent me her wood in the mail also, and then I spent a couple of hours taking care of my animals and my crops. I went to check the traveling cart and I collected a bit more hardwood. I finally collected enough eggs to give to Gus as a part of a quest I'd been working on, so I dropped them off for him at the saloon. I talked with Elliot for a minute, and then I spent way too much money to buy a whole bunch of crab pots. It's an investment, trust me. I filled all of the crab pots, and then I spent the rest of the day in the best way I could imagine, ending my year 2 spring, fishing with my best friend Willie. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like and say something nice in the comments below. Also, make sure to follow me over on my Twitch to watch my progress in this save live as it happens, and I hope to see you there. Okay, see you all in the next one, everyone. Bye bye.